everyone, Arlene here. Welcome back to my Country Craft Corner and Arlene's Travels. How in the world are you guys doing today? It is so good to see you again, and thank you so much for stopping back by to see what I'm up to. And what I'm up to today is I'm going to go through my folder here, and I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to tell you about our California wine country, which is just a cruise up the coast of California. Cruise. We went on that cruise pretty much just to relax, to be honest with you. And because we saw that it was right before Scott Singer's group cruise, which is my buddy Scott Singer. If you haven't checked him out, go to his, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel down below. He's an awesome young man who is doing wonders with his vlogging of his cruises, and he's actually in Alaska working for the summer. So the next cruise after this one was going to be the Alaska. We had already booked our group cruise to go with Scott because he asked me to go on it, and I was like, absolutely, I would love it. You know, I finally get to meet him in person and get to meet all of his subbies and some of my subbies, and it was wonderful. My subbies who were also in the Alaska, cruises on Princess Group. Wonderful. Awesome. But first I want to go ahead and tell you about this California wine country cruise, which was absolutely lovely. It was calm. A lot of people had been on this cruise since Fort Lauderdale. Apparently you can do this cruise connected to other cruises. They started in Fort Lauderdale and went through the Panama Canal and down around Mexico. And then we caught up with the cruise. I guess maybe it's part of the World Cruise, or it's just they offer it as a long cruise. But we got on in LA. Los Angeles, that's where we got on. But before I get to the cruise, I wanted to talk to you guys for a minute about, for those of you in the United States, about TSA PreCheck or global entry. If you guys haven't, for those of you who travel a lot and, hate to stand in lines and in security lines and hate to take off your shoes and pull out your computers and, give them an appendage, consider getting TSA PreCheck if you just travel domestically. But then if you travel internationally, global entry is wonderful. It gives you a bunch of perks, and I'll give you some links in the description. I'm not going to take a long time to talk about this, but Chris and I did obtain global entry status before this trip, and I am really glad that we did. It really helped us in our travels. It helped us bypass those long security lines and whatnot. Also, for those of you who cruise, I highly recommend that you get yourself a passport, y'all. So many in these cruising groups don't think it's necessary to have a passport when you cruise. And that is correct on some cruises. But for Canada, for instance, if you go to Canada and let's say, God forbid, you have an accident and you get put in the hospital and you have to stay in the hospital till after your cruise ship leaves port. And so you have to find your way home in some way. And usually from Canada, that's flying. Well, you cannot fly out of Canada without a passport, y'all. So also, too, there's a trip that goes up into the Yukon, which I'll talk about more in my next video, but you need a passport for that, too. So, consider getting yourself, go on ahead, biting the bullet, fill out the paperwork, do whatever you need to do, go get your pretty picture taken, do whatever you have to do, but get yourself a passport. It makes traveling easier, so much easier when you're crossing borders, when you're cruising. First question we got asked when we got on the cruise ship or when we went to registration is, can I see your passport, please? We're like, yep, here you go. They do have passport cards and other things like that. I highly recommend a passport book, just like this. I got this cute little thing from that Vera Bradley outlet, by the way, and it holds my global entry card, which is in a protected sleeve, and my passport. So, highly recommend that. I want to talk about that for just a second. Okay, so the morning of the cruise, I'm going to be flashing up pictures here, or here, wherever they happen to flash up. And here I am, all ready to go with my new Ted Baker carry-on bag, as I showed in my carry-on reviews, and I'll put a link to that in the description too. And that bag, by the way, worked out beautifully throughout. I didn't have to lug a bag through airports. I could just pull that little thing with me. It was lovely. It fit. We're coming into Richmond International Airport on our way to California. It is 4:28 a.m. and we left our house around 3:15-ish, something like that. And we're on our way to our cruises. Figure out where to go here at Richmond. It's not a huge airport. It is an international airport though. Flying American Airlines today. We have a big old fat layover in Dallas Fort Worth. We're going to be there 5 hours, sitting on our duffs, waiting for our next flight. We're scheduled to get into LA right around 3:30. We're going to be staying at the Crown Plaza near the airport. And then tomorrow we will get on the Island Princess. I get to finally meet my buddy Scott Singer. He'll be on that cruise too. Here we are coming up to a parking garage here, taking a ticket.
Ticket with you. Pay at the pay stations located throughout the terminal building. Take ticket with you. Pay at the pay stations located throughout the terminal building.
Ticket. Here we go. How many times do you think you've been to this airport, honey? It's once or twice, huh? We're gonna park in the north garage. And I'm gonna take me a picture of where we park. Because goodness knows, I might forget. In 2 weeks. We're gonna be gone 2 weeks. We left the house at like 3:30 in the morning because our flight was at 7 o'clock and we had to get to Richmond International, which is about an hour and a half drive for us. But better going there than to Dulles, which is north of us. And Dulles Airport is just, I hate it. I hate Dulles, to be honest with you. I just can't stand. It's just confusing and it's busy and it's mean people up there sometimes, where Richmond is a lot nicer. You got more country folk down there. It's a smaller airport. It is an international airport, but I don't think they do much many international flights out of there. But anyway, so we traveled and got to Richmond International before the sun came up. Made our way through security, did all of that, no problem, waited for our flight. Our flight was not delayed, got on our flight, and off we went. So we had a layover in Dallas, Fort Worth. Now Dallas it's a nice airport, but it's a busy airport. But we didn't have any trouble, but we had a 5-hour layover, y'all. That, that's ridiculous to try to figure out something to do for 5 hours. Well, we did all right. We figured it out. I sat there and I probably answered comments and was playing on my computer and who knows what all I was doing. So, but anyway, we get into LA. And we're going to be staying at the Crown Plaza LAX, which is a hotel right next to, and our travel agent, Cheryl Hellman. I'll give you a link in the description for her. She's lovely, absolutely lovely. She's Scott's travel agent. And I will give you a link and give you her information if y'all are ever interested. And you know, anything that she could help you with. She's absolutely wonderful. I love her. I met her in person. On the next cruise, I'm gonna cry because I just love her so much. She's such a doll. Now, I usually use another travel agent. And these two ladies, I love them both, and it's difficult, you know, when you have two really good friends like that, and you don't want to. Oh my goodness, I don't ever want to hurt anybody's feelings. But anyway, for this cruise, these cruises, I used Cheryl because Scott's group cruise, she was the travel agent for his group cruise, so I went ahead and used her for this California coastal too. So. It was lovely. It was a lovely hotel. I think it was newly renovated. But it looked fine to me. Somebody had mentioned, oh, I don't know, you know, I'm like, oh, I didn't see anything wrong with it. It was absolutely fine with me. So, and we had dinner there in the restaurant. We did walk around a little bit, but we were really tired. We were pretty tuckered out, to be honest with you, you know. So we went ahead and went back to our room after we ate. What did I eat that evening? I'm trying to think, do I have pictures of what I ate? We had a lovely onion dip. Here, I'll show you that. I have a lovely onion dip with homemade chips. Oh my land, that was the first thing I ate pretty much that wasn't really diety. Diet food. And, but it was really good. And then I can't remember what else I had for dinner. I didn't take a picture of it. Anyway, we went back up to our room and I did a room tour. I may put that up at some point, but you know, whatever. I've got some pictures of the room. We went to bed early, to be honest with you. Got up the next morning, and Miss Cheryl came and picked us up. Oh my goodness, at 10 o'clock, she came and she picked us up and she took us to the cruise port. How sweet is that, you know? So here's a picture of, now here I am in my outfit of the day. And then here's a picture of me with Cheryl. Arlen here, and guess who I'm with? I'm with Cheryl. Hey, so fun. Cheryl. Yes, this is fun. And then Chris is right there, real quick, in the back.
He's hiding real quick in the back.
Cheryl picked us up, bless her heart, at the Crown Plaza, LAX, and she is driving us to the cruise port. Oh my goodness. Are we excited or are we excited? This is awesome. So I just wanted to come on and say hi. We're on our way. Here we come. Yeah. Island Princess. Cheryl, it's so good to meet you, honey.
It's so fun to meet you.
All right. Yes. Here we go. But then we get our, you know, we set our sights on our cruise ship for the week, or for the 2 weeks. Island Princess. There she is. She's a pretty little thing. She's not a huge cruise ship. She's actually was made, her and her sister ship, the Coral Princess, were specifically made to fit through the old locks at the Panama Canal. But that ship, the Island and the Coral, have been doing Alaska and the California coast for a while. Now the Island is going to go do the world cruise, I think. Coral, which is my favorite, the Coral Princess, is going to stay in Alaska. And Arlen here, and guess who I'm with? I'm with Cheryl. Hey,
so
there
fun.
Cheryl. Yes, this is fun. And then Chris is right there, real quick, in the back.
He's hiding real quick in the back.
Cheryl picked us up, bless her heart, at the Crown Plaza, LAX, and she is driving us to the cruise port. Oh my goodness. Are we excited or are we excited? This is awesome. So I just wanted to come on and say hi. We're on our way. Here we come. Yeah. Island Princess. Cheryl, it's so good to meet you, honey.
It's so fun to meet you.
All right. Yes. Here we go. Okie dokie, everybody. Here we come. There's a little ship there in the distance. Can you see her? There's the island. There she is. She's here.
So cute.
She's waiting for us. Yeah, we're going to go around and we're going to go right up beside her, apparently. Yay. Thank you, Cheryl. You're awesome.
You bet.
There she is. Island Princess. Oh my goodness, sorry for the wind. Look. She's a pretty lady. Oh my goodness. Yay. Iowa. Check it out. Look at that. Wow. Honey, can you grab a couple? Look at her. Iowa. Show your cruise ship boarding pass for discount. Look at that. I don't know whether I had that in the picture. Wow. We do offer tours, it looks like. I don't know. You could call
check it out. I bet you if you Google them, Google cruise port here, you'll find it. Anyway, check it out. Wow. And there's the Island Princess right there. She's a little prettier than the Iowa.
Yeah, I'll take you to the island instead. It was fun to see her, but now we're
Alright,
gonna go
we're
to the
going to
island.
the island now. Gee whiz, Cheryl. We are happy. I'm a happy. We're a happy crew. Oh my goodness. This is a very industrial port, for those of you who have not been here, so get ready. It's not just a cruise ship port. This is a real working port, look. So, you know, some ports aren't like this. A lot of them in Alaska are not like this. Those ports were made for Alaska. These ports were made for people bringing things to the state of California here and beyond, I'm sure.
And this can be two princess ships. If there's two princess ships here, it's usually always on this side, and then it can be in 91 and 92.
Okay.
And usually Norwegian is always in 91 and 92.
Gotcha. Awesome. Look. Oh my goodness, my butterflies are just, I am a mess. I'm like a little child.
And my jealousy is starting to rise.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I wish you could come with us.
Cheryl dropped us off, gave her hugs, and we went ahead and got on the ship and went through registration. Absolutely no problem. I had my boarding passes already, my passport. We got our cruise card. You know, we went right on the ship. I think we had to wait because we were there pretty early. I think about 11:15-ish is when they started to board the elite passengers. There's something called the Captain Circle levels. Chris and I we're now elite because we did, you know, and I'll explain that when I get to Alaska, but we are now elite, but then we were platinum. So we had to wait a little bit longer until people who were in a suite and elite passengers, and I think first they board handicap folks, and then they board suites, and then elites, and then
We just wait in line to get our picture taken, and then we'll be on.
we got right on the ship, and our room was not ready yet, which we expected. The last few cruises we've done, our stateroom has not been ready till about 1 p.m. But that's okay because they have a dining room, and one of their main dining rooms on board the ship was open. It was I'm getting my princess patter out here, and I'll tell you which one it was. I think it was Bordeaux dining room anytime, and noon to 1:30. So your first day on the ship, one of the dining rooms will be open from usually noon to 1:30. So be sure to you can go to passenger services if your stateroom isn't ready. You'll have one of these in your stateroom when you get to your stateroom. But if your stateroom isn't ready, go over to passenger services. They sometimes will have these on a little kiosk there. You can just pick up a Princess Patter for the day. Princess Patter, for those of you who have never cruised Princess, is their daily information sheet, broken down hourly, as you can see. And it tells you all about, you know, whatever they have going on the ship all day. You know, if there's going to be any talks from the naturalist, for instance, shopping spotlights, trivia, bingo, what movies will be playing at Mutt's Movies Under the Stars. MUTS is Movies Under the Stars. They have a big screen, outdoor screen, you know. Also, they tell you on the back here, it gives you the dining guides. It tells you which dining rooms are for anytime dining and which dining room is for traditional dining. This ship only has 2 dining rooms. Bigger ships have more dining rooms, so be sure to check your pattern. Also, it tells you the times of all the other restaurants on board, the Sabatini's and the Bayou Cafe are the 2 specialty restaurants on the Island Princess. Also, they had a crab shack on this one. They have the grill. And of course the buffet you know, which was lovely on this ship. Lovely, absolutely really good. It was on the front of the ship. I love the buffet on the Coral and the Island because it sits on the front of the ship and you can look out the front. We always tried to get a seat, you know, looking out the front windows. It was lovely. So anyway, Scott was going to be on this cruise too, and his lovely Auntie Michelle. And I knew that they were going to be on the ship, but I didn't know what time, and I hadn't really been in touch with him too much to know what time I was gonna, you know, be able to meet up with him. I knew that, you know, eventually sometime that day that we would be meeting up, and I knew that there were 2 other couples that were also coming on this cruise, and we were gonna meet after our muster, which is the, you know, the emergency drill where you know, they talk about, you know, if something were to happen where you are to muster. Well, we're standing there after we ate, and we're standing there at La Patisserie, which is a place that sells coffee, specialty coffee, and Chris is a big coffee drinker. And all of a sudden, I hear, is that Arlene with Arlene's Country Craft Corner standing over there?
How much I've been dying to see Arlen. Well, if you look right here, is that the Country Craft Corner YouTuber?
Just wait back.
Oh my gosh!
I was all like, oh my god, is that Arlen? Say hi, Arlen. Everyone. Hi. Arlen and I have been chatting since I want to say 2015. That's when we first started.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So,
oh my gosh.
we are.
Is this a picture? Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody.
Hey, we're on board the island.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I was like, ah! And I turned around and it was Scott. Oh my goodness gracious. It was so good to meet him in person and to meet Michelle. And you know, when you form friendships, anybody who tells you you can't form friendships online, you know, I've said this before, but they're full of hooey. They're full of hooey. You know, it was just like I was typing to him, talking to him, you know, and it was so good to meet Michelle and get to know her. And the 4 of us were fast friends. You know, Chris got along with both of them very well. We all just were fast friends, along with the other 2 couples that came on later. So we had a lovely time standing there chitting and chatting, and then we headed to our stateroom, which was Caribe, on the Caribe deck, which is deck 10 on the Caribe deck, and it was a mini suite. And here are some pictures. I'll put a link in the description. I do have a video of the mini suite too. So anyway, I want to get on and talk about this cruise, but I did want to, you know, introduce you to a couple of things that I'm going to be referring to, you know, as we go through this. The Princess Patter being one. Of course, you get a plethora of information. Of course, they're always going to want to try to sell you something. All you have to do is say no. Don't complain about it. Just say no and walk on. They're very sweet. They're very nice about it. You know, at least on this ship, they weren't pushy, you know. They give you beverage options. You can take out packages, you know, and this will be in your stateroom on your first day. All of this information. They tell you about their restaurants, and the Crab Shack is a specialty little thing that they do. They close off half of the Horizon Court and do a Crab Shack, which is really good. We didn't do it this time, but you know, I don't have to tell you cruisers about all of this stuff. But anyway, so that was pretty much our first day. We did have dinner with Scott and Michelle that evening, and we did at the muster meet the other 2 couples who were on board. And here's a picture of all of us. And the 2 other couples, Margot and Ed, and Heather and Ray. And we all became fast friends, and they stayed on for the Alaska cruise too. So the 8 of us really bonded and had a wonderful time for that 2 weeks, y'all. I'm telling you right now. So the very next day, also too, on your first patter, it gives you a itinerary for your week, you know. So we left port right around 4:30, I think. And Well, it said all aboard at 3:15, but that was the time of the muster drill. And I'm not going to talk about that. You just, you know, I talk about it in my stateroom video. You just go to a certain muster, you know where your muster station is. You can look on your cruise card. It's on there. It's also on the back door of your stateroom door, the back of your stateroom door. So, and you just go there and you muster, and they play the Love Boat for you.
Safety. Soon we will all be having fun. But right now, this must be attended by everyone.
And just tell you how to put on it. You don't have to carry your life vest with you anymore to princess drills, and they are all inside. You do not line up on outdoor decks or anything like that. You go. We went to the Princess Theater. That's where ours was. So there you go. So anyway, next day, that was on a Wednesday. Next day is a Thursday, April 25th. And we were in Santa Barbara for the day. I did not get off the ship, you guys, and Chris did, and he walked in town a little bit. But this cruise was literally for me to just relax, you know. But here's my outfit of the day, that day. And a hint for you, let me just tell you, if you're on princess ships and you don't know which way to go when you go out of the elevator to find your stateroom, you don't know which way's forward, which way's aft, which side's port, which side's starboard. First of all, remember port is on the left side of the ship if you're facing the front of the ship. Port has 4 letters, so does left. But a better way for me to figure it out is to look at the carpeting. And as you'll see here, port side had red dots on the sides, and starboard side had green dots on the sides. See the dots on the sides? And that way I knew we were on the port side, and I said, I gotta go for the red dots. I gotta go to the red dots. So, and then eventually I figured out which way was forward and which way was aft, you know. They have signs on the wall to tell you too. So that's a good hint for you though, when you get off of the elevator. Look at that carpet, you know. Also too, I had a lovely milkshake that day. Went to Swirls, and I had the soda and more package, which gave me unlimited fountain sodas, which I don't think I'm gonna get that again. I may, because it does give me, you know, free milkshakes and free hot chocolate. But for the soda, I'm not gonna be drinking soda on ships anymore. I drank it, and I'll tell you more about that in the next one. It wasn't real good what it did to me. But anyway, with that package on some ships, now not all ships, but on the Island Princess, I got free milkshakes. So I did have me a free milkshake that day. Didn't it look good? It was so good. Especially since I haven't had anything like that, you know, in a long time, because I've been dieting. So, but really and truly, we didn't do too much. We walked around the ship. Chris sat on the balcony and took these awesome pictures. Seals, they were just awesome. Having a big old time there in Santa Barbara. And that was about it that day. We did go to dinner with Michelle and Scott that evening, and we were tired after that. We were tired. We were tuckered out. So our next day, we were going to be in, it was going to be at sea day. So we just kind of, again, hung around, rested, didn't do a lot. I wish I had more to tell you, but we really didn't do a lot. We really didn't. So then the next day, we were in San Francisco, and we had signed up for an excursion through Princess to go to Alcatraz. Well, before we went to Alcatraz, it was also a tour to see the Golden Gate Bridge, you know, which again, I've never been to California. I'd never seen the Golden Gate Bridge in person. I wanted to show you, this was us sailing in. Hi everyone, I'm in here. Here we are. Coming into San Francisco at 5:40 in the morning. Been up since about 4:45. And we're sailing under the Golden Gate Bridge. Yay! Look at this. This is the first time I've ever seen the Golden Gate Bridge. Can't see much else out here. Pretty dark. Looks to be a little foggy this morning, but I thought I would take us a little video as we sail under the famous Golden Gate Bridge. Hey. Wow. Pretty amazing. Alright guys, catch you later. The morning of San Francisco. Check out the Golden Gate Bridge at sunrise. Is it not beautiful? And then we passed Alcatraz. And went to breakfast, and I don't remember what. Actually, we didn't eat breakfast that morning. We just kind of had tea, and I think Chris went and got us a little pastry, and sat in our room and waited for the time of our excursion. So then we left for the excursion, got on a bus, very seamless, got off the ship, no problem. You have to show your cruise card to get off, no problem. Got off the ship, got on a motor coach. And the bus driver serves as your narrator, and he's telling us about this and that and the other thing in San Francisco, or she, actually, it was a lady. And she said, for those of you who would like to walk across the Golden Gate Bridge, and I'm like, ooh, I think I would like to do that, You can get off here, we'll let you off here. For those of you who don't want to get off, stay on the bus. We'll go across the bridge and we'll wait on the other side of the bridge for the folks who want to walk across the bridge. And you have an hour to walk across the bridge, which was ample time, although it is a long bridge. I don't know, a couple miles long, I think. But I was like, yes, I can do this. Yes, Chris, let's go. I can do this. And Chris was like, all right, we're going to go walk across the Golden Gate Bridge. Y'all, every Girl Scout in the United States was on that bridge or in San Francisco on this day. And they were bridging. Y'all know what bridging means, if not, Google it. I was a Brownie leader. Y'all, I'm sure I'll have a lot of Girl Scout leaders out there. Y'all know what bridging means. Well, they were bridging, and how apropos to bridge over the Golden Gate Bridge. I get the concept. I get it. But there were thousands, literally thousands of these children, and they were so excited. And I totally get that, and I am for that kind of trip. Done many in my life with my children, chaperoned many. I'm going to tell you something. When I chaperoned, my children would not have taken up the entire Golden Gate Bridge, span of the Golden Gate Bridge walking area. These chaperones were like, yeah, just go willy-nilly, just go, scream, yell, walk across the bridge. Don't make the old people bob and weave around you. Y'all. But anyway, I was videoing. And I didn't do a lot of vlogging. As you can tell, I'm really not putting a lot in here. I may put a silent video of me falling because next thing I know, I'm videoing and, I'm walking across the whatever I'm saying, blah, 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 and all of a sudden there was like a metal plate on the ground and it was just bumped up just a little bit, well, enough for me to trip, and down I went. I face planted, y'all. Hi everyone, Arlen here. It's very noisy, but Chris and I are making our way across the Golden Gate Bridge. We're walking it. Over there is Alcatraz. We're headed there next. I think every Girl Scout in the country is here. Anyway, I'm excited to do this. San Francisco is a lovely city, and I'm super happy to be here. And anyway, I'll be back. Used my left hand to break my fall, and I face planted, and my camera went flying. I was using my vlogging camera too. I wasn't using my phone. I was using my good vlogging camera, which thankfully made it through. Pretty much unscathed, got a little scratch on it, but I did not, y'all. I was stunned. It almost knocked me out, I think, because I just kind of laid there for a minute. And I will say that one of the Girl Scout leaders, or one of their ones who was carrying their first aid kits or whatever, came and she gave me a couple of gauze. I got up and I was numb from my nose over to my ear on this side of my face. And you can see my little lip. I had a terrible fat lip. I had a mark on my nose. My wrist was extremely sore because I landed on my wrist and my hand. And even still right now, I'm still sore with that. But it's getting better every day. I'm not hurt, thankfully. But yeah, that was a little bit of something there that day. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, that hurt. It hurt. You know when you start falling and you can't stop yourself, and you know you're going, and you know it's not gonna be pretty. Well, that was me. But here I am after I fell, and Chris said, we were pretty much at the beginning of the bridge when this happened, and he said, come on, Arlen. He said, let's just turn around. We'll go back and get on the bus. I said, heck no. I said, I got this far. I'm walking across this bridge. I wasn't going to let that stop me, you know? I'm not going to let it ruin my cruise. It's not going to let it ruin my excursion. So I walked all the way across the bridge, daggone it. And it was tough, though. I'm going to be honest with y'all. It was tough. It was very difficult. I was sore. I was stunned. It was windy. There were Girl Scouts, you know. So it was difficult. But I got it. I made it. Got all the way across the bridge. You had to walk across the bridge, but then you had to walk another like quarter of a mile, like up a hill and around. And it was quite the walk, let me tell you. But I ended up meeting one of my subbies. I am walking by. She was from Australia. Knew her from the Alaska group again, but she's also subscribed to me in other places. And here's a picture of us, fat lip and all. But you know what? It was so nice to meet her, give her a hug, and she was so sweet. You know, everybody that I meet in person is so gracious. And I'm telling y'all, if you ever see me out, please stop me. Please call me. I had a couple on the ship that recognized me. So, you know, and they stopped me and said, hey, Arlen. And, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so touched when y'all like stop and talk to me. So anyway, I stopped to talk to her. I love hearing different accents. You know, she's from Australia, and I just loved listening to her and her husband. And it was so much fun talking to them. We were in line with them to go to Alcatraz. I'm telling you, y'all, as I didn't have any Advil with me, I didn't have any Tylenol or anything with me. I won't go on another excursion without that, though, moving forward. But I was hurting. I was hurting badly. And we got on the ferry and went over to Alcatraz. And I was all ready and raring to go in there until the guy came over the intercom and said, okay, you see those 100 steps? I don't know how many, he said. 100 and some steps, steep steps over there. You need to walk up those steps. Now, if there's anybody with mobility issues, hurry up and tell me now, because, you know, there'll be a line and you'll have to sit in a chair and they'll, you know, take you up. And I'm like, and I looked around and there were a lot of people with mobility issues. I don't have mobility issues. I can walk up steps. That's not a problem. I was hurt badly, though, from my fall. And Chris had gone to get us a water, and he came back, and I'm sitting there in tears. And he's like, what's wrong? And I said, I can't do Alcatraz. And you know what? That was so hard to admit. You guys, I'm not a quitter. I am never a quitter. I do not ever quit anything. And I was so frustrated with myself that I had fallen and that I was so sore. You know, I was so stinking sore. There's no way, guys, that I could have done those steps. So anyway, Chris said, that's okay, no problem. He's so sweet, you know. He said, we'll go back. I said, you go. I'll go back. I can make my way back to the ship. The ship was not far from where the ferry was. I said, I can walk back to the ship. That's no problem. You go. No, I'm not going to leave you. I'm like, I'm okay. No, I'm not going to leave you. So he didn't go either. So we didn't see Alcatraz. So that just gives me an excuse to go back to San Francisco another time. I mean, I did not get to see Alcatraz. So anyway, but I've been sharing some pictures with you of the bridge, you know, and of Alcatraz when we were pulling up to it. You know, things happen. You just never know, you know, never go thinking you're going to have the perfect vacation, because if you do, trust me, it's not going to happen. So anyway, literally the rest of the cruise, I'll go through the rest of the days for you here. The next day after that was a sea day. And then we had really rough seas going from San Francisco up to Astoria, Oregon. Throughout that sea day, we were rocking and rolling. And I'm telling you, that's probably the roughest water we've been in, top 3. The toughest, roughest water we've ever been in. It was something. But anyway, we were rocking and rolling. It was craziness, I'm telling you. So when we got into Astoria, I think about an hour late, I believe. And because we had to slow the captain had to slow the ship down. He said, I'm doing my best, you guys, but you know, it was dangerous for us to be. He says, use the handrails. And I mean, they came on with multiple announcements about this weather, you know, that we were having. So it was pretty crazy. But anyway, we got into Astoria. And again, I did not get off the ship for this one. You know, I also forgot to tell you about formal nights. I can't remember which ones, but let me share my formal night pictures with you. The first formal night, Michelle and I had gone to one of the sales on board, and I actually found this really pretty teal jacket. And this is what I wore on the first formal night with my black gaucho. I think I showed that to you in the video right before our trip, or the day we came home. I think I showed that video. But it was like you know, the gaucho came about mid-calf, and I wore little black flats with it, and it worked out really nicely, and it's such a pretty little jacket. So that's what I wore, and you can see Chris in his suit and tie. Isn't he handsome? He's such a handsome fella. I'm telling you, I'm so lucky. Not because he's handsome, I don't mean that, just because of who he is. I just adore him. Sorry. But this was what I wore on the second formal night on this cruise. I had 2 formal nights on each cruise. Saved my little jumpsuit that you'll see I saved that one for Alaska, and I wore this sparkly blue top and black slacks and blue shoes, I believe, and whatever for the second formal night. And oh, I did want to tell you about laundry. They do have a laundromat on each passenger deck, usually on most princess ships. And I did do laundry. Actually, Chris did. No, I did. I'm fibbing. I did a couple loads of laundry because we waited and waited. We're like, oh, because we knew we were going to be moving to the aft. We were in the forward of the ship in this cruise, and we knew we were going to be moving to the aft. Well, it got to the point where we needed a couple of things. So I went ahead and just did 2 loads of laundry on this day. I think it was one of the days. I don't know. But here's the laundry room, and you do have to put your cruise card into a token machine and get tokens. It's $3 to wash and $3 to dry, and you get your tokens, and the token machine was broken. So I had to call, you know, the maintenance guy. Anyway, regardless, the nice little fella Marvin came and helped me and fixed, opened up the token machine and wrote my name down. And you know what? I didn't even check my end folio. I'm sure I got charged for them, but whatever. So he gave me my token. So I did my laundry, got all that done. But I wanted to let you know that there is laundry on board. You know, you can also pay to have it done. I don't remember how much it is, but you can also pay to have it done if you want to. Once you get to Elite, you get free laundry though. So, and now I want to tell you one more thing about this cruise, and I'm going to try not to get through this without crying. But y'all know my wonderful girlfriend, Liz, who had ALS. Let me put a picture of her. The last time I saw her in person was August of 2018. She passed away in October of 2018. And I had gotten in touch with her husband, I don't know, a few months after she passed away, and said, look, we're going to be in Victoria for a whole day. We were only there that time when we saw her for a couple of hours. I only literally had an hour to stay with her. But we were going to be in town all day on this particular day. And he said, hey, let's go to lunch. Stella would like to meet you. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I would love to meet Stella. And Stella would come to Liz's house every Friday when she was sick, every Friday, and they would sit and they would watch whatever videos I had put up for the week on my Country Craft Corner site. And as you know, Liz is the one that encouraged me to start my BLOG blog and then my VLOG vlog on my Country Craft Corner, and I've morphed into the travels here too, you know. So she was a wonderful, wonderful lady who I miss terribly. And it was really good to see her husband and to give him a hug. And it was really good to meet Stella. And here are the three of us. And we ate lunch. We met at this lovely little restaurant and ate lunch and sit and chatted. And it was wonderful. Didn't have to worry about being back. Liz's husband came to pick us up, and then he dropped us back off. It was a wonderful, wonderful day. Also, to check out the Empress Hotel there in Victoria and look at their flowers. Look at their spring flowers, y'all. Oh my land, is that beautiful? Victoria is such a pretty, pretty town. Butchart Gardens is another place. We didn't go there this time, but have been to Victoria again. If you ever go to Victoria, you know, go to Butchart Gardens. It's BUTCHART, Butchart. I think it's Butchart Gardens. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, but anyway, her husband dropped us back off, and we went back on the ship and just had a relaxing evening. And the next day, we were going to be pulling back into, or we were going to be pulling into Vancouver. And Chris and I were going to be staying on the ship, but we were going to be switching staterooms. So I'm going to save that information for the next video, because I want to tell you about turnaround day. If y'all can, you know, hang with me here and wait for me to bring you that video. I'll do that in the next one. This one's running kind of long. I didn't think I would talk this long about this cruise, but I can't wait to tell you about the Alaska cruise, which is really why we went cruising, and all the wonderful times we had. And so that's it for this one, but this cruise was lovely. I would do this one again in a heartbeat. The ship was very calm. The demographics on the ship was an older crowd. I will say an older crowd, older than Chris and myself. I'm sure Scott felt like a little kid because there weren't any children on this particular cruise on the California coast or the wine country cruise. Totally different demographic. As I said, a lot of them had been on from Fort Lauderdale all the way around, and they were getting off in Vancouver, and they were ready to go home, I think. So they were just it was a very calm, very quiet kind of cruise, kind of different for me. But it was nice. It was nice for us because that's why we went on, to have a quiet, restful cruise. And boy, did I, they always say, come back new. Princess's slogan is come back new. And I really did feel like I recharged my batteries a little bit. As y'all know, I've been working so hard. For those of you who've been watching me on my Country Craft Corner, I have been going full steam ahead pretty much since I started my channel back in October of 2000. Believe it was 16, and I have just been moving and shaking the whole time, So this was good. This was good for me, good for my heart, good for my soul, good for my attitude, good for everything. So, but anyway, I'm going to close this one out for right now. And let me just go into some final words. And again, I do want to mention, for those of you on my travel channel who may have just found me, just started watching me, I say these final words in my Country Craft Corner on my crafting and decorating channel all the time after every video. I felt like they were given to me, and I really can't in good conscience anymore close any video out that I do without saying these words, because you never know who could use a good word or a prayer now and again. So here goes. Thank you all so much for stopping by to visit, and I hope that all is well with everyone. For those of you who are struggling or suffering with a catastrophic illness or chronic pain, I hope you have someone there with you, taking care of you, helping you get through each day, making the very, very best out of each day. I hope there's nothing weighing on your minds or your hearts, pulling your attention away from where you want it to be or from where it should be. I love you all to bits, to bits, to bits. Hugs all around. And I keep you in my thoughts and my prayers every single day. And with all that said, I'll be back soon with my Alaska Cruise Report. So hang with me here. I'll be coming back. But until next time, y'all take good care. Bye-bye.